Basic DNA, there's two kinds. You've got mitochondrial DNA and nuclear DNA. Mitochondrial DNA is found outside of the nucleus. The easy thing to remember about mitochondrial is it starts with an M, that's from mom. Nuclear is from both parents, okay? Everyone has mitochondrial DNA, it comes from their mom. Everybody has nuclear DNA, it comes from their dad. DNA wasn't even discovered until 1853. That's when we finally figured out, or we started to think about DNA. Wasn't until the late 1800s, early 1900s that we realized it was a double helix, that it had that winding thing. Human DNA wasn't completely done until 2003. So when we started doing our DNA testing back in 2000, the human genome hadn't even been completed. So it was still in its infancy stage. Thus far, we've been waiting for our scientists to catch up to what we have, which is why 15 years later, 16 years later, we don't have all the answers. So the base pairs are the steps. These guys, the base pairs. Those are the steps of the ladder, and that's what we need to find out what they are. Is this a new species? Human mitochondrial DNA has 16,000 plus pairs. They're very, very specific. There's very little room for variations. Between you and I, we can have 120 base pairs variations, and that's okay. 80 more variations are enough to make Neanderthal an entirely different species. The Neanderthal is not in our human, in my opinion, they're not pre-human, they're a different species. Okay, so they're not in our evolutionary chain. Based on the DNA that we have so far, we only have small pieces, we've recovered, if you take it all the way mathematically to the full thing, we have over 800 variations from the human and the Starchild. The Starchild has 800 variations more than what we are allowed to have. So that's pretty interesting, okay? Number of mitochondrial base pair variations. Humans, we can have 120. Neanderthals have 200 more than we do. Dianzieva, which is another pre-human that just recently came into being, has 385 different than us. The Starchild is going to come out to be around 800 to 1,000 different variations. And a chimpanzee is 1,500 variations, okay? So, different species, okay? 1910, mitochondrial DNA and nuclear DNA were recovered. And that's significant because to get nuclear DNA out of something this old is like a miracle. But we got it. We sent it through the national database. The national database has all the DNA samples that have been found thus far. We set the parameters as loosely as we could. In other words, if it matches anything in there, if anything is close to it, tell us what it is. So, it comes back, and this is the actual report, no significant similarities. No significant similarities found in the national database. I think that's interesting, don't you? And we still have people saying it's human. Now, how can they say that? Because we don't have the complete genome. Because we don't have, we're not able to duplicate the complete genome. We don't have peer-reviewed papers. So until all of that happens, we're going to have naysayers. Okay, so they're going to be all over the web saying, oh, Starchild's fake, or it's human, or we even have people on our website saying that. And I'm not going to take them off. Everybody's allowed their own opinion. One of these days I'll be able to take them off and say, not true.